Alright.
Basically, where I position my piece.
Alright, and with that interesting intro done there, welcome to another After Hours build. And of course, I am Topster on the behalf of Indie Structural Productions, and yeah, so on and so forth. Anywho, getting straight back into it. What I am doing now, I'm checking all the little measurements and details on where I need to put everything on my neck so that I can start carving it. So there I checked where the 16th fret ends and joins the body, or 16th to 17th frets. Those are usually the points in which the neck joins the body. So I used that to kind of scope out where I want my heel carve to be. So using a square, I mark out exactly where, and now I'm using the contour of the body itself to draw onto the neck, so I'll be sure of my carve looking the way I want it to look. If any of that made any sense to you. Basically just getting out all the measurements in preparation to do some carving. And of course, in order to do some carving, I want to have a nice little decorative heel. Because why not? Making this guitar for myself, might as well just go completely overboard. Sadly, you didn't see what I drew there, but you'll see it later on. Also very important to mark out where my nut line is all around the neck, so that way I know where to place my volute. Also very important to have these 2 points so that I can check pretty much the thickness of my neck at both points. I think I went for 21 at the nut, 21 mil that is, and 23 mil at the heel, to start off with at least. So, to begin the carving process, I use a Shinto saw rasp to rough everything out a little bit. The way I'm doing this is I'm roughing out pretty much, well, I've said rough way too many times now, but I'm roughing out the rough thickness both at my nut end and at my heel end, using various different rasps to do so. And then every now and then I'll stop and I'll check with a caliper. Once I have those 2 points at the thicknesses I want, I take my trusty little spoke shave and join the two. So basically that ensures that I lost my train of thought there. I was going to say something, but then I completely forgot what I was going to say. Basically I'm just joining the 2 parts, so it goes from 23 mil to 21 mil at the nut. And yeah, there are different ways in which you can do this. I did go back and sand down the back of my neck a little flatter, because I just like flatter back on my necks. But this is definitely one way that you can approach this method. I didn't want to go with the whole angle grounder thing. Oop. There we go, handle getting loose. No big deal. I didn't go with the angle grinder method just because I've never used one, so I didn't want to take the risk and destroy my neck. So, as you've seen there, various different rasps and files. Now I'm using a Iwasaki small file. Man, I love this thing. It's so nice to use. Especially getting into like the small corners and doing like heel carves and volute carves. It's absolutely ideal. So I'm just kind of working out the fine details, as it were, of the carve. Well, as fine as you can get with the rasp, really. Before I start sanding everything down. Making sure that I leave my fretboard square, so I don't round that over, because that is a bad no-no. You'll do that later on in the build. Just, you know, you want to have your fretboard evenly square all the way through, and then have the bottom of the fretboard where it joins the neck slightly beveled in. I guess that is the comfortable way of doing things. So here, even though it looks like I was sanding the fretboard there, I was sure not to go anywhere near it, just because I want to have that little bit of wiggle room later on in the build process. So I'm basically sanding at 120, I think, maybe 180, might be 180 actually, with the Mirka sander. And as you can see, the Mirka is spinning very slowly, which means that I have a lot more control over what I'm doing, instead of having it take off way too much material and then me regretting what I've done. Oh, there we go. Gotta take some pictures, of course. Why not? Keep that social media updated. Oh yeah, if you haven't already checked out, go ahead and check out Indestructible Productions on Facebook. So that is facebook.com/Indestructible Productions. Yes, that is correct. I might even write it down here somewhere. So after I've sanded down with the Mirka, I go ahead and sand down all the harder bits by hand. Because the Mirka is a lot bigger of a tool to use, so it doesn't reach all these small places, or tight corners. Fairly straightforward, and just ironing out all those little kinks, making sure that my neck feels the way I want it to feel, because it is basically the thing that you will notice if it doesn't feel right. The neck does have to feel, especially because I'm making the guitar for myself, yet the neck has to feel the way I want it to feel, because if it has even the slightest bumps or something's a little off, it's the first thing you'll notice, and makes the guitar a little less playable in your hands, or makes it feel as though it's a little less playable. There's, Luigi's giving us some life lessons of us coming into work on the weekends and not really having a life of our own. But hey, when you're building guitars, it's all fun, so why not? Who needs a life when you can build guitars, right? Anyway, moving on, I am working on my heel carve there. So I decided to go with this small sort of ornate feature, as it were. Completely unnecessary. I never play this high up the fretboard, so it's not like it's going to get in the way. But if I were to learn how to play that high up the fretboard, it still does feel comfortable. So it does have a place where you can put your thumb and rest your hand. But important for me is the fact that it looks nice. As, the whole point in this entire After Hours build is just to make it over the top detailed, as it were. Now with all that done, I'm gonna start preparing my fretboard for some inlay work. So to do that, I need to radius my fretboard. I'm using a 16-inch leveling radius block, in combination with leveling beams and radius gauges to make sure that everything is the right radius all the way through. I'm making sure that I'm not pressing too much. I'm basically letting the sandpaper do all the work instead of me forcing it to take off the amounts that I need. Anyway, that was a very digression-filled episode, I guess. Or train wreck of an episode. There's Jamie peeking into the camera, and I'm gonna say bye for now. Comment, subscribe, like, and all that jazz. See you guys next time. Bye.